What's up, everyone? Here today with Danny from Barry Tomorrow. What's up, man?
I'm all good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. All right, let's just hop right into it. You guys got a lot coming up. New music just released. Got a tour coming out. So how are you feeling? How's everything falling into place in the Barry Tomorrow camp?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to get the album out there. We've been sat on this for a little while now and really excited that, the people that matter most are hearing it now, which is, great. And the response seems to be pretty wild. Lots of hype for a band that's quite old in the game now, which is awesome. Who would have thought a seventh album would have the most hype we've ever had as a band. So that's amazing. And yeah, super stoked to get back out over to North America now. Like that's going to be super cool. And it's been 13 years since we last were there. So all new. I'm sure things have changed somewhat in lots of places and maybe the same in others, but it's going to be yeah, it's going to be great. Super excited. So thank you.
Yes, I know as you just touched on it, there's a lot of albums that have been coming out, kind of highs and lows of the career. I mean, was there a time, you put out an album during COVID, so I know that was probably rough. Was there a time that you figured you might not make another album or might not make it back to North America for a tour?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, I think it's just so expensive. Lots of people kind of make up like reasons as to why or hidden agendas, and the facts are that we were on a label in 2010 that had subsidy and had tours that we could go on, and then our relationship broke down with that label in 2011, and we don't have tickets out there. So actually, if you're a band and you want to sell out shows, and we probably weren't the first of people's choice. And plus, visas are astronomically expensive, hideously expensive on both sides, going to the UK and going to the States. And so, it just logistically is really difficult, especially if you're not getting the opportunities that would really warrant you spending that kind of money. So there was a lot of that. And then I think it became a bit of a thing. And yeah, people read into it somewhat, but that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think more so, especially over the changes that we had over off the back of kind of Cannibal and then into this new era, like we probably weren't going to be a band, let alone go to North America. And so perspective wise stuff, I'm really glad that we've come out the other side of that, and that we also, as soon as we did decide to continue in this new way, the first place that we said, genuinely, the first place we said, right, we've got to do it then was the States and Canada, because we were like, look, if we're not going to do it off this album, we're never going to do it. So we've got to get out there. And again, we kind of said, well, if people aren't going to offer us a tour, we'll just do a headline. So we think the album's strong enough. Let's go for it. And so yeah, this is why we're coming over.
All right, so it was a pretty quick turnover between Cannibal and then the Seventh Son. Did you guys do that because, again, you wanted to kind of just reinvent the band a little bit and have something new to get out there with? Or do you think Cannibal kind of got lost in the shuffle of 2020 and all that insanity going on?
Yeah, maybe a bit of both. I suppose, any lineup change, obviously, especially with like a singer or a vocalist or someone that integral in our music, I think it worries people, and I want to alleviate that worry as soon as possible. And so that's what we did life really quickly, which I think has made people feel like it has been really quick. But actually, if you put it down on paper, it was like 2.5 years. It's 2 years since we released it. So it's pretty much bang on cycle for what we probably usually do, maybe a bit longer. But because we did Life and Death, it enabled people to already hear the kind of where we were going, which was done purposefully. It was like, look, you announce a new lineup, people are going to want to hear how that sounds. So we just were like, right, let's get straight in the studio and get to work. So there's that. And then, yeah, I think the pandemic it stretches and skews time, doesn't it? I mean, some days I'm thinking, oh my God, how has it been 3.5 years? And then other days I'm thinking it's gone by really long, and this has been a massive elongated process. It was a really strange time, and it has, continues to be for a lot of people. And so I'm glad we're at the kind of tail end of the madness, or we're now living with, what's going on there and being able to work through it, which I think is the right place to be.
Yeah, so the new album is, it's Buried Tomorrow. It's classic, hard-hitting metalcore. But this one, when I'm listening to it, seems a little bit different. Right off from the first track, it's almost heavier, like more intense than Cannibals. So how do you guys kind of go about putting out something that's still recognizable as metalcore, but you keep evolving as a band?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to push yourself. I think with this record, we're always going to sound somewhat different because obviously there's a lineup change. I think we also went into it not desperate to write a metalcore album, which I think we kind of got lazy with over the previous six, where we kind of went, oh, we've got a formula, we know what to do. This is Bury Tomorrow. Let's try and be the best metalcore Bury Tomorrow we could be. And I think with this record, we were like, let's just be the best band. Like it doesn't matter where it takes us. If it takes us into a super melodic bit, that's what's right for the song. If it takes us into a brutally heavy bit that, verges on, I would say we sit on in places in the death metal, deathcore world. It's heavy, really heavy. And we found that actually this weekend when we were playing with a lot of like brutally heavy bands on Empiricon Festival, and we hold our own, which is really interesting because I always still perceive myself as, or this band as, like a metalcore, middle of the road melodic metal, and we're not. We're definitely swung far more over to the metal side these days. But it kind of was what it was. And we're always trying to progress. Like for me, especially vocally, I think about the best vocalists in the scene at the moment in time and think about what they can do with their voice. And it only inspires you to try and be a better vocalist and push yourself as far as you can go. And that's what some of the recognizable factor is. Yes, we lost a member, but you've still got four of the original. So by proxy, you've kind of got the majority of the sound is still going to be the same. I think if you lose everyone and you've got one member left, then obviously it's going to be a little bit different to replicate. So yeah. And we didn't want to stray too far. We want our fans to enjoy our music because we also enjoy playing the music that we offer other people.
Yeah, so with the lineup change, did that impact the writing or the creative process at all?
If I'm really brutally, candidly honest with you today on this wonderful day, no, it didn't. Like it just made it better. The writing process has always been Chris writing and then me writing a lot of the thematics and the songs and pulling it together. What changed this time was that we had two other really positive human beings that are really, really incredibly gifted at what they do. And so Tom coming in, especially, he's a songwriter. He can play every instrument in our band. He can also scream, and obviously and sing. And so he would start writing some of the songs. So the big change was actually we had like three songwriters just writing stuff constantly. We had too much stuff to choose from, which was great. Prior to that, it was literally me and Chris would just sit down and be like, right, let's go through it, let's get it done. And I would write a lot of lyrics. I would write masses of lyrics. And now I can trust Tom absolutely. He writes everything. I didn't write a single lyric for that guy, because he's very talented, and I think the writing process this time as well, back to the previous question, was around like not being hemmed into wanting to be one thing. We want to be everything. And so super positive. All the shackles were off. We could just have fun with it.
So moving forward, if there's ever another album or EP or single down the road, do you think you'll sit down and try to write something that would pivot it in a direction, like try to write a deathcore EP, or do you think again it's just going to be just a mix of whatever's coming?
I think it's kind of whatever's coming. I think what's great about this era is like we've got a whole whilst you're right, it's not wildly different. It's not, we haven't completely abandoned where we were, but it does have nods to very different elements of Bury Tomorrow. And so what we can do is listen to those and see how they responded well to and be like, oh, okay, well maybe we'll try something further in that light. I don't think necessarily we'd hem it too much because I do think one of the charm that we have as a band is that we can kind of take a song and go from really melodic and then go, I mean, you take songs like Majesty, Wrath, Carcass King, they're songs that go from like melodic and they swing between really melodic and really heavy. And I quite like that. I think that's quite an original concept for people rather than be like, this is a light song. Because I think this day and age, like, kids or fans of music, they know, they can call it out straight away. They're like, no, I know what you're trying to do there. That's your commercial song on the album. And it's better that you give people an experience, a listening experience.
So how's that going to translate into the set list? I mean, are you going to play really heavy on the new album and then the last album, or is just going to just span all the years of your music?
Yeah, it's really hard, especially when we're going out to, North America. There's people, last time we were there was 13 years ago with our first album. So there has been six albums since that, with lots of singles and lots of things that people, and lots of success. It's not to say that Cannibal was our most successful record at the time, and now Seventh Son has just surpassed it. But every year it kind of went, every album it kind of went up. So there's lots of people that will want to hear, I'm sure, in those venues some of the older stuff, and that's, you know, we have to nod to that, you know, and that's fine. I suppose when we're doing like UK Europe, because we've played it so much, like we can afford to load it a little bit more with like newer stuff, just because they've seen the Lionhearts, the, you know, the Honorable Rains, the Black Flames, the, you know, the Ages, all of these, they've heard all of these songs before quite a lot, so we can take them out and be okay with it. America, slightly harder because they haven't heard any of those songs translate live. So yeah, we've had a bit of fun putting it together. The set's great. It's all locked anyway. We're ready to go. You know, big metal bands. You've got Bring Me that are on another planet. You've got Architects, which are probably the second. Bands like Bullet for My Valentine that have been there for a while. While She Sleeps and us. And then you've got like Malevolence that are probably there as well, and Bleed From Within. And so like, and there's lots of bands I've probably missed, but really when we're talking about like the bands that are over 1,000, over 2,000 caps, like that's the bands. And so, and obviously with the big gap between us and people like Bring Me, who are like arena level, so it's like it's actually quite thin on the ground when you think about it. And we've been a band for a long time, so our clout is kind of nostalgic, but also a newer band, which is quite fun because people will talk about you in two different ways. Like, oh, they're the old school, they're the OGs that have been doing metalcore since 2006. But then loads of other people will be like, oh, have you heard this Seventh Son album? Don't even know who this band is. And it's great because you can kind of still continually grow. Um, so yeah, I mean, we probably use it, and I think we surprise a lot of bands. I think, you know, we played this weekend at a metal festival in Pericon. We were head support, but one of the shows is an 8,000 cap, and with Ghost Inside, and we know those guys really well, and because we've toured together. But there was a load of other bands, like younger, kind of probably American bands or Australian bands and stuff, and they don't have a clue who we are. And it was kind of just fun to watch them just be, some of them be like, "What? How have you got like 8,000 people singing your words back?" And it was really fun because, you know, it hypes us up because we're like, yeah, we are doing the right thing, and that's cool, you know, and it opens up opportunities because we know we're not big in the States. I know it. You know, I'm looking at the ticket figures. I know, you know, we do well, we do cool numbers. But we're not like, you know, I'm not selling, we ain't Bad Omens, we ain't selling out every show. Like, you know, I don't think anyone is other than Dem and Sleep Token, maybe Spirit Box as well. But like, you know, that's cool. That spurs me on because it's work to do. You know, and I want, whilst I would love it if they all sold out, of course I would. Please sell them out. But you know, it's mainly about work. You know, we've got to grow a market, we've got to put the work in. I can't expect us to do stuff, you know, sell out shows if we're not there. So let's do it, you know, and I'm really stoked to get out there again, you know.
So how'd you guys get together with the three opening bands I believe there are on the tour? Did you guys pick those, or they kind of just fell into place?
Yeah, we kind of picked them actually, which was kind of cool. Like Siamese are a really cool band that I don't think has gone over to the States yet, which is really cool. Um, Afterlife are like the most posy band I think I've ever known. Tyler, their frontman, is like the most positive dude, and he's so stoked for the tour, and that really does help. And a great band as well. Obviously, they've started their own kind of movements. Really, I think they did that shit rocked thing with like Bad Omens and Parkway and stuff like that, which was really cool to see them on there. And then Hollow Front are obviously a name that we know from a metalcore kind of world. They've toured with August Burns Red and stuff like that, other friends of ours. So we could kind of ask around. So that's also a really cool thing of being a band that's been a band for a while. All those OGs that people don't think we know them. So we know the August Burns Red, Ghost Inside. We know bands like Stick to Your Guns. We also know, you know, the Miss May Eyes, like Beartooth. We know all of these bands very well because of what we've done in Europe. And so we can ask them about bands that are up and coming, especially in the States, which is really cool. And Hollow Front were one of those bands that were raised as like, you know, this band a cool group of individuals. So yeah, it was kind of collated, which is, we don't often get the chance to do that as much anymore, which was really nice. So yeah, it would be cool to watch all of the bands. I've never seen any of those bands live, so it's going to be a fun experience.
All right, cool. I got one more goofy question for you before I let you go.
Go on.
So I asked this across the board. If you were to walk into a zoo right now, what's the first zoo animal you're gonna go see?
Probably like reptiles or something, just because I do like big cats. I do like big cats. I don't know, reptile. Let's say I'll go to the reptile place because there's something super cool about that. But yeah, I'll go there.
All right, it's locked in. Reptiles. All right, so if you want to, I know we got the tour. If you just want to plug whatever you want for the last couple seconds or so, feel free. Get it
Yeah,
out to
yeah,
the
all
fans.
good. No, just a massive thank you. Thank you to yourself for taking time out of your day to speak to an English reprobate like me, and our band. But like, yeah, massive thank you to anybody that's promoted the Seventh Son, supported us, and a huge thank you to anybody that's coming out to the shows. And if you're not like, and you like metal music or you like heavy music in general, like come out and support. You know, it makes a world of a difference of a band traveling thousands and thousands of miles to come and play a show that people are actually coming to. That would be super cool. So yeah, can't wait. If I meet anyone there, like come and say hello. Also, we're not a band that hides in backstages. We want to meet people, and you definitely don't have to pay for the privilege. You just come and see us at merch because that's what we're about. So yeah, please come along. No VIPs. It's all love.
All right, rock on. In that case, I'm gonna be at that show in New York. I think it's on May 20th, so I'll see you guys
Oh,
there.
Gramercy Park, the one. Yeah, come and say hello, brother. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's a sick venue. It's like big enough, it fits a lot of
Heritage,
people,
right?
but it's super intimate. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it's heritage. That's one of the better pre-sales as well. So it's, there's some that are like a little bit less, which are kind, it is what it is. But yeah, New York, we've got a load of like English fans that are flying over as well. So it's going to be like a proper hotspot of like just
Nice.
awesome culture. Yeah, it's going to be great, man. But
Yeah,
yeah,
in
see
New
you
York.
there. Say hello, please do.